Hello everyone, happy Monday. It's Christine from Christine's Stamping Spot back with you today to start off another week, almost in the middle of March, craziness. So today we are going to take a look and have some fun with these Thoughtful Moments hybrid embossing folder and Thoughtful Moments dies. We're also going to use a couple of other embossing folders and some retiring ink colors. So there's a lot going on today. So the Thoughtful Moments hybrid folder, you can find it on Mini Catalog. It's right here on page 18. It's this right here. So you get the dies and the embossing folder together. And we've also reintroduced our brayer, which was a tool that we had a while ago, and then it was discontinued, but now they've brought it back in a little bit of a different format. So I'm going to show you how we're going to use these all together today. All right. So let me just make some room here to show you what we're going to do. Okay, so we're going to make a version of this card. Now, I saw this idea by a demonstrator called Rochelle Block, and I'm going to sort of switch it up a bit, but I kind of like the idea of the pattern, of the way the paper is put in like a pattern. Kind of reminds me a little bit about, you know, when maybe you or your kids were in kindergarten and they worked with making patterns of different colors and putting them in different orders to make different patterns. That's just the first thing that came into my head when I saw this card. So I've done a completely different take on Rochelle's design, and we're also going to switch up the project that we're going to do here today and some of the colors. So I'll come back to this one and tell you what I used in that. But for this one, we're going to start with a piece of Orchid Oasis. Now this is a retiring in color from 2022 to 24. And we are going to say goodbye to it this year. And it was just a very bright palette of colors in that offering of in colors for those 2 years, and this was a beautiful purple. So we're going to start off with that, and we're going to do our orientation portrait this time, or landscape. Yeah, landscape, sorry, got that backwards. Now I'm going to put on a piece of basic white. Now this I used, I don't know if you can see this pattern, but I used the Basics embossing folders to cut this out. Now you're saying, Christine, where are those basic embossing folders? They aren't in the mini catalog. They're not in the annual catalog. Where are they? Well, my friends, you will find them actually in the online exclusive section. So if you happen to visit my online store and go under shop products, there should be a little bar that says online exclusives. If you click on that, you'll see all of the online exclusive offerings. And these are all extra products that Stampin' Up! Is bringing out on an occasional basis throughout the year, where it's even more product than we have in our normal catalogs. And the thing with online exclusives is sometimes if an item does sell out quickly, they may restock it. Other times, depending, they may not restock it. But we have just released a whole bunch of new items in that online exclusive category, so please be sure to check it out. There's some great new stamp sets and bundles and different things in there, papers. It's really, really neat, so check it out. Anyways, this is where you'll find these basics. So they're sold as a package of 3. And they are the 3D embossing folders. So you get 3. So you get this pattern, if you can see this. And it actually comes out like this. Okay, so that's really cool. And then this one is the one I showed you, and it's this folder here, if you can see the crisscrosses in there. So that's that one. And then we have one that is polka dots, and we're going to use this in our design today. Okay, so those are the Basics 3D. So you get 3 of them. They're the standard size, but you get 3 of them in a package. So that's always fun. Okay, so let's put this on top of our base. Like so. All right, so then we're going to start with our pattern. So I've gone ahead and cut some pieces out. Now, instead of me trying to fight with, getting all of these pieces lined up and making sure they're straight and not leaning or whatever, I decided to cut out a piece of basic white that I'm going to mount these on. Okay, so first thing I decided was, what size do I want my strips to be? So these ended up being 3 inches by 1 inch. Okay, and my pattern is going to go, if you can see this, it's going to go like this. Okay, so we've got our Orchid Oasis. This is Parakeet Party, which is also a retiring in color. Then we have some basic white, and then back to Parakeet Party and Orchid Oasis. Now these I cut out at 3 by 1, and I ran them through that polka dot emboss, basic embossing folder. So I'm going to start mounting these on this base. Now, if you are great at eyeballing things and making them straight, go for it. You don't really need this piece. But for someone like me with my eyesight lately, I thought, I better be safe and just do something that's going to help along in that process of making them visually straight, hopefully. So I'm just going to butt these up against each other on this base, and we're going to make our pattern. Now, the beauty of this project is you can use absolutely any color of cardstock under the rainbow that we have, right? You could make so many different patterns. You could use different, not just 2 or 3 colors. Maybe you want to use a couple of extra colors. Like, you can just go crazy with it. So that's kind of a fun creative process. You can figure out what works for you. Okay, so I think this is pretty good, and that looks pretty straight. Hey, I think that's not bad, except I did cut this one. When this went through the embossing folder, obviously it went a little bit crooked, so I apologize for that, but we'll work with it. So that might be one thing you might want to be aware of when you're running it through, or try different embossing folders even, right? Some that you don't have to worry about them being straight or shifting. But I just like the look of these polka dots, so I decided to go with them. Okay, so we're going to put this on top of our base this way. And if I were to do it portrait, it would be this way, but we're going to do it this way. Let me just make sure that my card is going the right way. Okay, so I'm going to pop this up with some dimensionals. I just thought that might be kind of fun. Okay. So let's just make sure we have enough on there. Of course, I always add more than I probably need because I love using these. Okay. So let's put this on fairly straight and centered. Kind of like that should be fine. Okay, so then what I did is I cut out a piece of vellum with the stylish shapes dies. Now you don't have to use the stylish shape. If you have a punch you want to use, I think this is probably about 2 inches. 2 inches, almost 3 inches. Probably a 2.5 inch circle punch would work if you have one of those. Or use a die or a plain die, whatever you want. Doesn't even have to be a circle. If you want to do a rectangle or a square, whatever you want. Okay, so I'm just going to put this down in the center, and I'm just going to put a couple of glue dots just in the center there. So where is my... Take your pick tool, is here someplace. Okay, so I'm just going to add a couple here towards the center, and just so it doesn't really flop around too much, we are going to put a greeting on top. But let's just put this down for now. Okay, so we're just going to sort of center that on top of here. Okay, just give it a little press. Okay, so now we have to figure out a sentiment, and that is where this came in, our hybrid Thoughtful Moments dies. So let me bring this out. Okay, so these are the dies, and this is the embossing folder. I don't know if you can see there are greetings all through this embossing folder. And the beauty of a hybrid is that it will cut and emboss at the same time. Like, how magical is that? Fantastic. So I'm going to pull this off. Now you do have a couple of other pieces in the die, some little rainbows and clouds and stars. We're not going to worry about those, but we are going to ink up this embossing folder, add our die, and then run it through the machine. Okay, so I have chosen the Orchid Oasis ink just to kind of go with our project. And I'm going to use our brayer. Now this is the old brayer that we had, but it works the same. It was also a Stampin' Up brayer. So what you're going to do is, with the side that has the Stampin' Up logo, that is the side you want to ink up. Okay, now if you don't have a brayer, you could just use a sponge, or one of our blending brushes would work. But we're just gonna go over this and make sure that there's ink on all of these words. Okay. Just ink them up nicely, however much you think. Okay, now this does, or it has the potential to get a little bit messy, so just be aware. And you can add as little or as much as you want. Okay. All right, so let me just close this because I will undoubtedly get ink all over myself. Okay, so we're going to close that. So now what we are going to do is we are going to put in our die. Okay, so you're going to just fiddle with it, put it down on top, and it is just going to sort of pop a little bit into place. Okay, just fiddle with it a little bit. It's not a real loud sound, but you can feel that it's in there. Okay, so then what you're going to do or have ready is a piece of whatever color cardstock you want to use. So I'm just going to use the basic white, and I cut this at 6 by 6 because that's the size of the folder. I'm going to lay this on top, and then I'm going to close it and run it through my die cut machine. So I'll be right back, and I apologize for any shaking on the table, because it will be a little bit snug to get through your machine, but just be gentle with it. It's a pretty thick folder. Okay, so let's see if the magic has happened. Okay, so I ran it through this way, so when we turn it around, we can take off our die. Just be careful, it's got ink on it. And look at, we have all of these greetings. Let me turn this around. All of these greetings that have been inked up and cut out for you. Ta-da! Is that just not the coolest thing? I love this, how you get so many different greetings all cut out at the same time. And of course, the beauty is you can use whatever color of ink. You could just run this through with a whole bunch of different colors of ink and just keep all of these greetings in a little container, and then just coordinate them with whatever project you're using that color for. Like, is that just not brilliant? I think that is awesome. Okay, so the question is, what are we going to put on our project? Now, I did thank you and I did hello. Maybe we should just do celebrate. How would that be? So let's just move these to the side. Okay, and we'll bring back our project. And I will pop this up maybe with some mini dimensionals wherever I can. It's pretty narrow, but you don't even have to pop it on dimensionals. You can just lay it down flat, just add some Tombow glue, or if you even have an adhesive sheet on the back of your cardstock, it would probably adhere to this, and then you would just snip it off. Now, the C is going to be the tricky one, right? Because I don't really want it to show, but can I cut this in half is the question. I think we need mini dots. Mini dots. That might work, okay? For these tiny little letters and images and things. That would be awesome. But of course, our fingers are never as small as we need them to be. Okay, so let's just do that. Okay, so let's peel this off and then see what we have. So these are great for so many different occasions, right? And you get so many cut out all at once, which is awesome. Okay, so I've got them cut out. So I'm going to put this, you can put it straight. I kind of think it's fun putting it at an angle. So I'm going to do that. Just put it at an angle like so. And then I'd cut out a piece of baker's twine. Now this is from 2224 in color baker's twine pack. Now this is a fantastic pack of baker's twine. It's all of those in colors that are retiring. So your Starry Sky, your Sweet Sorbet, what was this one? Tahitian Tide, Parakeet Party, and Orchid Oasis. Okay, so you've got all of them on spool, all in one pack. So I just pulled out the Orchid Oasis, and we are going to just attach this with another glue dot. And just to give it a little something. And then we will just stick this underneath. Okay, I think I'm going to need to trim off these tails just a bit. Like so. Okay, so let's maybe add one more little bit of bling or something. And these are the in color pearls that are retiring. So as you can see, I've used up a number of these colors already. But let's pull out some of the Orchid Oasis ones. And we'll just randomly add some of these around the project, whether it's on the vellum, maybe that's the best place. You can even add the Parakeet Party ones if you want, a little bit of both. I think I'll just stick to this one color. I think I'll just do 3. Odd numbers are good. So these are also retiring. And there you go. There is our project. Really simple and fun, I think. These polka dots just kind of bounce out and grab your attention. So this is just another spin on this one, which the colors I used were that Tahitian Tide. Let me just double check that's the right name. Yes, Tahitian Tide and Parakeet Party. And here I inked this up with a Tahitian Tide embossing folder, and that's why it has that little blue outline on there and the Tahitian Tide baker's twine. And these, I don't know if you remember these are from our fall mini, the glitter sequins that we had at Christmas or in the fall. I still had some of these. So these are unfortunately retired, but I thought, oh my gosh, those colors are exactly the same pretty much as this card. So I decided to add a couple of those. Now I did have one other version, and that is this one. So this is the same colors as here with the Tahitian Tide and the Parakeet Party. The only difference was I cut my strips thinner. So these were only 1/2 inch and a little bit longer. And then I used the Parakeet Party as a layer here that I ran through that one other basics embossing folder. And then again, I used the Tahitian Tide ink and those same retired shimmer gems, and then just some Parakeet Party twine on this one. So kind of 3 different versions and a whole bunch of great greetings that I have that I can add on later. Now I know it's a retiring color, but if you still have some paper that even after it retires, you know, use it for your own products, or your own projects, I mean, and just use those up. They're just all so great, you know, for so many different occasions. So those are our projects for this week, and I hope you enjoyed that, and we will see you again next time. Have a great week, everyone. Bye for now.